Welcome to Herby at Heart, where herbalism grows in the roots of our hearts, an intrinsic journey where we dwell on the deep and expand the narrow. Starring your favorite herbalists, Philip. Last time Tash introduced herself vigorously, so I'm say Philip. Find me at Power Plants Berlin, and Tash, Avant-Garde and Life. Yeah, I forgot the rest. Normally I read it. So that's us. And today we're going to talk about something very, very exciting.
We are. Today we're going to journey downwards, deep into the soil, deep into our marrow, deep into the bean. We're going to meet Comfrey. Symphytum officinale. A plant shaped by steady power of earth, the element of form and foundation. It carries the signature of Saturn, guardian of bones, ligaments, joints, and the skeleton. The architecture of the body. Long surrounded by debate over its internal use, Comfrey stands nonetheless as an ancient teacher of structure, resilience, and repair. As we draw near, we listen, not to opinions, but to what the plant itself may reveal. We also have the wonderful pleasure of interviewing Fernando Dirk, a Parisian Dutch artist, musician and ethnobotanist of Andean, Amazonian medicine and ritual traditions. Sounds pretty exciting.
He's from Peru. That's what that means, right?
Peruvian, yes.
Sorry.
Yes, that's all right. It's all right.
Okay.
We'll forgive you.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really excited for Fernando. I'm really excited for this plant. And before we get into our excitement, let's play our first song.
Yep. You're going to love it.
Yep.
We're actually going to play a song from Fernando Dirk. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Nature Boy.
So that was Nature Boy. I would say you start today because now is the time to talk about the experience that we had with the plant. Mm-hmm. And I'm curious what happened to you.
Well. I had to start a little bit later this time because I had a pretty full-on viral infection. And I didn't feel like I could delve into, I was taking other plants and I didn't feel like it was going to be good for me to, intuitively, I didn't want to do it. Okay. And then I got a root canal, or I had to get a root canal, and intuitively I then started using it by rubbing it on my gums. And I was also using it on my wrist, because I have a chronic wrist issue, and they were the two main ways I was using it. And I found on my wrist, now I've been using it for about not even that, like a week, maybe a bit less, and I can feel, that it's feeling better. Like the pain is not as extreme, and it's definitely doing something to it. I would say it'd be interesting to use it longer. They do say don't lose it too long, but so I'll keep on trying that out. And on the gums, I just did one drop and I just rubbed it around the tooth, and I found that has really helped. Mm-hmm. I did it more to build the bone. I thought it would help like with the regeneration of the bone and just like around the area. And then when you told me today about what you found, I found that super interesting that intuitively it was almost like I was very attracted to use it only for that. I didn't use it any other way. I didn't ingest it. I just rubbed that one dot on my gum since like 5 or 6 days now.
Yeah.
And then a few drops on my wrist. And I used the oil a few times. And another thing that I've noticed with it is how somehow grounded it's making me. It's really rooting me.
Yeah.
Because even though I've got like all this stuff going on and somehow I get a little bit overwhelmed by this stuff, deep inside, I feel quite a grounded, sort of centered root chakra feeling.
Excellent. I think that's what you need when you deal with root canal problems, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is and it's so interesting that this root canal thing, I've never had a root canal. I've never had to have one, that now in this month
Shows
that
up.
we work that we
that's
work with
interesting.
Comfrey. I found that super interesting, like the stuff that's happening to me this month.
Maybe it's over once this radio show is over.
I know.
That would be nice.
I know. I would love that.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Yeah, to clear things up, I told Tash today because whenever I'm doing research on plants, and I kind of do it last minute because I don't want to know too much intellectually or from a rational side towards it before the radio show, because otherwise I don't really have the experience. So one of my favorite books is the Madaus, Gerd Madaus. He was a German scientist, herbalist, biologist, chemist, like fucking crazy person.
He was all over that shit.
He was all over that shit. Like he wrote the Lehrbuch der biologischen Heilmittel, and I think it's like 12 of these little things with like so much information on everything. And it's very, very interesting. And he wrote that it's actually used, the Symphytum, we use it for parodontose. So anything that has like infection in the mouth, it's actually like, he really highly recommends it for this case. I mean, it's not the main use, but he highly recommends it, which I found funny. That's something I didn't know about Symphytum.
I didn't know it at all until you told me that today.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it was super cool. And that is what's so cool about working with the plants, is when you're really in touch with it. And I must have been much more in touch with it than I thought.
You know, I even told you this last week, and you were like, oh, maybe it's from that. I have teeth problems since 2 weeks. And I never have freaking teeth problems. Like, really, I have the most amazing teeth. I'm very proud of them because I don't have to do anything. I mean, I'm cleaning them, but all the dentists are like, oh, it's so great.
Oh, isn't he lucky? All
Yes,
those people who have teeth issues out there are like, yeah, motherfucker.
Yeah, I'm sorry. No, I'm not really sorry. It's genetics. Thanks, Grandpa. So, and it's the first time it's like, oh, something's happening. Oh, okay. And I'm curious if it comes with that, because I started quite late also to get in touch with the plant. And for me, it shifted something that I didn't like at the moment, and I was not ready to look into it. So I stopped taking it, and I just applied the oil outside, because Tash gave me some of her self-made tincture, and I didn't have any at home. I only had oil, and like I took her oil also, that was lovely, I have to say. Lovely for skin, lovely for everything. I'm a big fan of that plant.
I mean, they use it for psoriasis.
Yeah, I don't have psoriasis, but yeah.
But particularly like where it was particularly for psoriasis, especially they said particularly it was very good for that. But I can imagine more for I've never used it so much for that.
Okay. So here comes something interesting that I found. And that was, I like that a lot, because I thought of the signature of the plant. This has nothing to do with it, but like if you think about the plant a little bit, it's like mostly we use the root. There's, I think, Hildegard von Binnen. She wrote about the whole plant, but most of the use cases that are written down are like the root of the plant. The plant itself is from the Borago family, so like the leaves are hairy and kind of not thorny, but like kratzig. I don't know how do you say that.
They're furry.
Yeah, furry, but like hard furry,
furry,
and
they're like Velcro.
And they're
Velcro-y.
Yeah.
That's true. They hurt a little bit. Yeah.
There's a word for it, like Rauhaargewächse.
Yeah.
I don't know in English, but okay, they're rough, a little bit rough on the outside, but a very lovely plant. But if you look at the root, which is this one, the Tash brought, amazing root
from the lovely Stephanie.
Yeah, and thanks, Stephanie. And if you just take a tiny bit from it and like you break it, and you see that the inside, you barely can see it, I think, in the camera, but you can see the inside is like white. And this white is full of mucus, and it's like very nice mucus plants. They use it for like ulcera and something like this. Also very interesting. We're going to talk about that later. But what they saw in it, and if you break it down, you can see it, especially when it's fresh, it looks like a bone. This one is quite small, like they get like thick like that. And then you break it and they have like, it looks like a broken bone. Symphytum. We have the symphysis inside the bone, right? In German, the name is called Beinwell. So it's like, it is for broken bones, making the Bein, das Gebein, the bones,
Like
the
the
bonery.
bone
Yes.
healthy, well again.
Yes, making them well again. And then I read a little bit about it, and like what is very interesting in this plant, and now we're getting a little bit in homeopathy. For me, this plant is a plant of making steps, because it's a plant of growing. What is the time when you grow your bones? You're like small, you're a baby, you're a child, you're becoming an adult. It's like all these steps. It's a plan for process. And for me, it's very close to the homeopathic remedy calcium carbonicum, which is also very interesting. It is a plan. It's a homeopathic remedy also for processes and making steps, like development steps. And calcium it's calcium. It's like what are bones made of? So we have like the calcium apatite, like anyway, like so we have that connection there, which I like a lot. And then I looked at the contents of the plant, and they have this allantoin, and that's a quite interesting thing because it shows up in like Schwarzwurzel, Blackwort, I don't know.
Yeah, like black root.
Yeah, black root, and like this plant especially, this root especially, is like full of allantoin.
Yeah.
And we find it in different things. For example, one of the things we find it is breast milk from a mother, and it's something that makes things grow. So what this plant can't do is like, it's not antibacterial, it's not antiviral, it's not like anti-fungi, like antimycotic. Actually, like fungus grows with that further and faster. Bacteria grow further and faster. So it's supporting the growth. And I like that. So it's like, it's exactly what it's doing. This plant is supporting your growth. So whenever you need like to make a step, and now we're coming back to the root canal thing, which I like a lot.
Yeah.
Like, the idea of a root canal, that's a bit esoteric, but like could be that something is not right in your root beliefs, in your root system, and you need to find a new rooting. And so you need to grow further, like outgrow something. And this plant is amazing for that.
Yeah.
And I like that. So there's a very, very beautiful connection that's inside this plant where we can work with. And of course, it does the same with bones. In homeopathy, we say don't use Symphytum too early, because if a bone is broken, they might just grow together before you have to correct them, or you have to clean a wound. Don't put Symphytum on a wound before it's cleaned, because it will just grow back together.
Grows.
Yes, yeah. So like, and it's very interesting because it actually does that, not just on an emotional level, but not just on a physical level, but also on an emotional level.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm amazed.
Well, I like that. That's funny that you're saying with the movement and taking steps, because of course every time I get something like some ailment, I look at why maybe I'm getting it. Also on an emotional level, what could be going on with me right now. And so many people had lots of opinions about my root canal, about what it could be. It could be this, it could be that. And none of them resonated. I mean, I like it when people have their opinions and they say, because then I can feel, and is that, and nothing felt right. Until yesterday, Kati said to me, tooth stuff, and particularly root canals, is always about transition.
Yeah.
And as soon as she said it, I was like, bam.
Yeah.
That is what it's about.
Nice.
And it's so funny also with the Comfrey, what you're saying, with this like going a further step, doing this transition. And I am in some sort of deep transition mode at the moment on numerous levels. Yeah. So it's interesting that it's all coming together now.
Yeah. Cool.
For today.
So this is the big come out moment. Tash is actually becoming a plant. She decided to give up her human form, and she will be a willow tree.
Oh.
Maybe.
Willow tree. Yeah, I wonder what plant I would be. That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
I mean, dandelion is really one of my major spirit animals, spirit plants.
But people step on you all the time. Like, I'd rather be I don't know.
What, something pretty like rose?
Nah, too thorny. I'm like a big tree.
Pretty thorny.
Yeah, you are. But
Yeah, maybe, okay, you can be something else.
Yeah, I want to be something else. Like Buche, beech tree.
Oh, yeah, you like them.
I like them, yeah.
Yeah, it's too gentle for me.
Yeah.
Too gentle for my character.
You can call it beech tree, and it's not so gentle anymore.
That's what I'm going to become.
Yes. Okay, we're getting lost here. Yeah, very interesting. So I'm intrigued by this plant. So the thing is, there's also a sad story.
Here we go.
Yeah.
You and your sad stories.
No, it's important to know about this because we talked about this in the first episode about Commission E in Germany, like this commission that came together and wrote monographs about plants and the usage of plants in phytotherapy. And this plant we are not allowed to use it officially anymore. Inside, what do you call it?
Internal.
Internal, yeah. We can use it as ointments.
We can use it externally.
Externally, even the tincture. You can buy the tincture out there. Yeah. So it's possible to buy the tincture and use it externally only, of course. Or you use it, you make it yourself. Because they have found some poisonous parts inside this plant, pyrrolizidine alkaloids. And if you eat them for 6 months, 10 kilos a day, you're going to have liver cancer. It's a little bit more difficult than that, but like he's
been a silly little monkey.
Yes.
That is true. That part of that is that there is some very truth to that, but it's also depending on what type of the Symphytum it is. Some of them have really high, and the root has actually quite high contents, again, depending on the species. But even in the officinale, they have found highest. And it also, again, depends. They've found it in not all of them. They do testing.
Yes.
And it won't be in everything. And the way they do testing, just to let everyone know, they often isolate it. So it can be really hard to know when you isolate this alkaloid and then you test and you inject it into a rat, for example, like some testing they've done, just this alkaloid, and then the rat gets liver failure, and then they wonder why. So it's a hard one because we actually don't get a lot of funding in the herbalist world to test plants in a much more sustainable way.
Yeah.
So it's more like taking little aspects of the plant. So it is really hard to say, but yeah, legally we're not allowed to use it internally. You're not allowed to use it internally.
No, no, that's not true. We're not allowed to use it with patients. We're allowed to use it ourselves, and that's why we can make experiments, and you can make experiments, but just be aware that this is a situation that's existing, and be careful with it. And as always, it's a suggestion, or like never take something more than a few weeks, because there's no point in doing that.
And do really small, and they do your research about the Comfrey, please, because there is a lot out there. There's been a lot of studies on it. But there's lots of different trains of thoughts about it. Some herbalists will say it's okay to eat the big leaves. Some will say only use, the roots and the small leaves have a lot higher of the PAs in it. And then the different species will have. So it's the Symphytum officinale that we use. There are some other ones. Mm-hmm. So just make sure you know which one you're picking. And also, when you're buying this plant, it can be adulterated, which for people out there who don't know what that is, it means that the plant, it might not be that plant you're buying, and it could have other plants in it. So make sure you buy it from a good source.
Like pharmacies or something, yeah.
Yes, where they actually are testing it medicinally, particularly this plant, just because there is so much around it.
Yeah. Or grow it yourself.
That's
also always a big option. It loves water. You can actually get rid of it if you don't give it any water, or make sure it doesn't have access to water. Loves water, needs sun. So you find it a lot on riverbeds. You find it a lot around lakes all over Europe.
Yeah, it's really easy to find, and it's a great plant. It makes great poultices on broken bones. Again, that's something that you really have to be aware of. I think the 2 cautions that you really have to be aware of this plant are what you said is the bone has to be set and has to be in place before you use it. Very, very important. This is I put a big asterisk on that.
Yeah.
And with the wounds as well. Don't use it on open, deep wounds, because what it can do is that even if you clean them, what it can do is it heals the outside, it can
Yes.
heal the outside, and then the very deep part
true.
of the wound can actually get infected, or it won't heal.
It's true. It can.
And so that festers, and then it's healed on the outside.
It can close the wound before it's like completely healed. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. But that's quite interesting because there's a lot of cases on usages for ulcus and even ulcus cruris, like having open wounds externally, and with cleaning and using Symphytum, they manage to get rid of ulcus cruris, which is quite a thing to do.
There's quite a full-on, quite, even in the stomach they're using it on the, not now because you can't use it inwardly, but they did use it. But I think it's not a good one probably for people who are unexperienced to be putting it on a super deep wound just because.
No, don't do it without any guidance.
Yeah,
for sure.
Scratches are great, like just really surface, anything surface.
I mean,
and it's fabulous for that. Bruises.
I gave it to my neighbor. I remember she had like knee problems. That was such a beautiful story because she had knee problems for like 10 years. I was like, I just moved in and I talked to her and I gave her one of the Beinwelt Symphytum salve I did and balm, and she used it for 1 week and there was no pain. And she was like, I want to sell your stuff. And like, okay, I don't have enough, but yeah. So it's very powerful.
It's quite fast working as well. When you read about it,
yeah, I really love it.
And that's why we also chose the person we did for our interviews. We wanted someone who works with some deep work and works with trauma. And I don't know, how did you feel? I mean, we did, we study, we do Ausstellung, family constellations. And we did some this weekend, and I used it both days. I did my gum rubbing and I rubbed it. One day you rubbed it on yourself as well. And I found a very interesting thing. I thought about it today. What happened is I was so stable the whole weekend, and it was a pretty full on. There was quite a lot of, there was some big themes coming out, and we're always either doing them or involved in them. I think with almost all of them, we were doing them or involved in them. And that I felt like throughout the whole weekend, even though I felt a bit exhausted towards the end, I felt super stable and I felt really rooted in my center.
Nice.
And I thought, could be a really interesting herb to work with this kind of, sort of deep traumas. I mean, you do use it emotionally for that as well. Like I think the flower essence, you could use it for that. I haven't made a flower essence, but I'd like to test it out.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
I think it would be borage does that a little bit. I mean, it's in the same family, but the borage flower essence it's really great when you're feeling highly exhausted and you need a good kick. Yeah. So it could be something in that direction.
Yeah. I'm curious to try it out, to use it also in a way of this processes. And often I have patients that lack in rooting, in grounding. And I can't really access their energetical field because they are not in their body. They don't feel themselves, and I wonder if it helps to just bring it down or wherever the spirit is and just bring it down to the body so you can actually work with that.
Well, I felt like that's what it did to me. And it is it's very earthy in the way that it's ruled by earth. Yeah. Some people also say ruled a bit by water, which I can understand just because of the power of water and the movement, that kind of aspect of it. But it's very earthy. It's ruled, they say, by the lowest chakra. Yeah, makes sense. And Saturn. They're all quite, which is ruling our bones and our ligaments and these very structural kind of things. And it's... Yeah, I can imagine for a patient using it like that. And even by just rubbing it could be interesting. I would like to test that, rubbing it on my lower chakra in my anus.
Ah, that's good, yeah. Yeah.
No, I don't know about that, but...
My girlfriend does body work, so I want to give her some of that to try out with some patients because I think that could also be very interesting.
It's a great idea,
If you do any kind of body therapy, that would be really cool.
Mm-hmm. And for yourself as a body worker,
it's true.
Putting it on your lower chakra or putting it in some noted points.
So this is something you can try out.
Yeah.
If you get some oil, either from Tash or make it yourself, and then try that out as a grounding ritual even. No?
Yeah.
You told me something that there's a different use that Elizabeth, our last guest, talked about.
What was that again?
It was for cutting something, right?
For bindings in her book. So we interviewed her last time. So when you do rituals, there's a ritual where you can cut your like binds or spells, cord cutting, or also binds. Like if someone put a spell on you or something to cut it, apparently you can use Comfrey. They have used it.
Which I found interesting because it really doesn't like to be cut. At least with iron, you should not cut the root down with an iron knife, especially the allantoin. It doesn't like iron, the reaction to it, so it really reduces some contents in that plant. So it doesn't like cutting itself, which I found interesting.
Okay, that's interesting. So maybe supporting. I think what it does, from how I when I read it, what came to mind is it supports you to be strong enough to stand
your ground
and to stand your truth in a way.
Yeah.
That because often with these cuttings, you're doing it because it's an unhealthy relationship that's happening. You don't really do it with someone you're having like a super healthy relationship with.
Yeah.
That's generally why people do it.
It's true. You know, my new take on this is like I don't like cord cutting or energetic cutting anymore, and I don't really do it anymore. And I had an experience a few months ago where I really felt like, okay, there's like some energy I don't like and I want to do a ritual and cut off that energy. And it was like very close to my heart, this energy. And I felt so. Went to a lake and it was full with birds and swans and ducks and all this kind of thing. And I like got in touch with that energy and really felt into it. And then I tried to pull it a little bit. And when I wanted like to use my imaginary knife or root or whatever to cut it, all the birds, like I'm not joking, like started moving. All the birds from all the trees like flew up like so hardcore, and a swan kept running on the water like in intense energy directly towards me, stopped in front of me doing like this thingy, and I was like, okay, ma'am, I think I'm not supposed to do that.
They can be so aggressive.
Yes, and then I put it down, and then the whole scenery relaxed. I was like, okay. And then I talked to a teacher of mine who teaches me a lot about energetical work and how I'm doing it, and she said she doesn't think it's a good idea to cut things because things you cut, they grow back.
Yeah.
You should put love in it and respect. Every energy wants to be honored and wants to be thanked and be respected. So if you honor an energy and say like, hey, I'll let you go and honor, I love you, thank you for the teachings, but I don't need you anymore and it's time for you to go. And that's it. We don't need to cut things. Cutting things is an aggression, and it will react or create the same reaction and will come back with aggression. And sometimes we need to fight, and that's not the thing. But like if we have something, normally it's with people that we have a relationship with or had one. Even though it was toxic, doesn't matter. We were always a part of a relationship. There's always you need two to tango, right? So we have some part in that. And I liked it a lot, and it was a very, very interesting lesson for me to learn. So if you do cutting, think about it, and maybe just go with peace and love.
Go with God. I find it very interesting that we're talking about so much spiritual stuff in this episode. It's bringing some very,
That's what's up. I guess.
Yeah, it's bringing some sort of very, I can't explain it.
Yeah.
Can't put it into words.
Yeah, that's the spirit of Comfrey, I guess. Even though I have to say Comfrey, for me it sounds very fun. It's a little bit Cockney. Comfrey.
Yeah.
Comfrey.
Good old Comfrey.
No, I'm a fan, I have to say.
I mean, I use it in this in my breast oil that I make.
Okay.
And apparently it's really good for the breast because of the cell regeneration that it does in there, and it helps with not growth with other plants that I put in there. I have like 4 or 5 plants I put in there, and it helps with the growing, that it doesn't grow stuff or something. Or maybe I can't remember why I did put it in there, but I know the cell regeneration was
it helps growing cells
and
also
the skin also,
like
also helping the skin around it and keeping it super healthy.
Yeah, that's why I love using it on like wounds, any kind of that, like oberflächlich, what do you call it? English word for
on the skin.
Yeah, okay, something like that's not too deep, and like it heals almost immediately. Like it takes an hour, and like a wound is healed. Like by Comfrey, it's amazing in that kind of thing. Okay, blah blah blah. We talk and talk and talk. It's been like half an hour of us talking because we got really into it. I think we need to do a
Yeah,
song.
we got
at
taken
least.
down the Comfrey path.
Yeah, it's a good path. Comfrey, a plant long regarded as a healer, a restorer, and a quiet guardian of the renewal. Comfrey is also known as the knitter of bones, of tissues, of the subtle structures that hold a being together. Today we're going to talk to Fernando Derks, and Fernando's work mirrors this quality in its own way, through art, music, ritual, and the carrying of ancestral knowledge. He weaves together elements that restore balance and bring people back to themselves. Comfrey is a plant that works in depth, not on the surface. Its medicine sinks into the roots of things, inviting deep repair and a return for inner integrity. Fernando's holding space for transformation that reaches into the emotional, spiritual, and cultural layers of a person's life. Both move quietly yet powerfully, creating change that is felt strong after initial encounter. The spirit of Comfrey embodies integration, drawing together what has been separated, fractured, or forgotten. Fernando moves between tradition, landscapes, and creative expressions, integrating them with the intention of and respect. When Comfrey tends to the healing of the physical body, Fernando tends to the healing of the human story through sound, ceremony, and cultural bridges. Comfrey brings the medicine of the earth's deep memory. Fernando brings the medicine of ancestral traditions and creative expression. Together, they reflect a harmony where nature's healing intelligence and human artistry meet. In essence, Comfrey and Fernando share an energetic kinship. Both are restorers, weavers, and invite a return to wholeness. Fernando is a Peruvian Dutch artist, musician, and ethnobotanist raised in a remote Andean village near Lake Titicaca. Immersed in Andean Amazonian medicine from childhood, he has spent the past 20 years studying rituals and traditional medicines with healers across Ecuador, Peru, and Brazil, and Colombia, including extensive training with the Kofan people, the Caririjoco, and Taita Juan of Surajpamba. Trained in fine arts in Holland and guitar in Ecuador and Peru, his work spans installations, drawings, paintings, performances, and music that reinterprets ancient Andean, Amazonian, and European traditions. His sounds blend folk, contemporary, and ritual elements. Each year, he leads a 15-day visionary journey in Ecuador, offering participants profound personal transformation. Fernando's mission is to respectfully bring ancient practice into the modern world while highlighting the cultural, spiritual, and political realities of the communities that maintain these traditions. So, Fernando, welcome to our show. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're very curious what you have to say, and we just jump right in as we always do with our questions. And theme and the plant of this month is Comfrey, Symphytum officinalis. It's a plant that long has been linked with healing bones, supporting deep structures in our bodies. I always, when I think of bones, I see a strong relation to ancestors, like the bones of the past, the work with the ancestors, the connection to our lineage. In your work, is this something you incorporate, working with the ancestors? And if so, how? And in your work and tradition, is it something that is meaningful, or is there like ritualistic use on working with ancestors? And if so, please elaborate on that.
Yeah, you sent me the plan that we're going to talk a little bit today about it. And I know it's a very European plant because there's always like sometimes you find the same family plants in other parts of the world, but there was not one that was very familiar to it. But there is one in the jungle that almost does the same things, that works a lot on the bone structure, and it's called palo de tigre. ¿Cómo se llama? Hueso de tigre, and it's called like tiger bone, and it's a plant that helps also get to the bones, take the cold out of the bones, Yeah, and about your question, is there is in our lineage and in our tradition with working with the plants and the medicines and also psychedelics, but also the rituals, there is a lot of ancestry in it. And there is like it's the ancestry lineage is very, very important in it, and to call your ancestors to do healing work or to guide you in certain ceremonies or certain rituals is a very important part of it. Uh, uh, in the Andean and Amazonian tradition above all. And but yeah, and you have many different ways to relate to them. Sometimes it's even sometimes with plants, like the use of a plant is given by a grandfather or grandmother to the next generation, and they become a lineage of this plant tradition. So uh, yeah, you have like different ways. Like in Peru, I can explain you like three forms. It's like you have the paleros, the ayahuasqueros, and the sanangueros. So it's like lineages of families or tribes that use a certain way of working with a plant, or with a animal, or and this is given like by generation to generation. So yeah, there is a lot of work with the ancestors lineage.
So the families have the plants then? They're given the plant from family to family?
Yeah.
Through the family, I mean. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, there is like a use, like especially when you come like my great grandmother Margarita. She was a person who worked a lot with these cactuses that are behind me, the so-called San Pedro, that actually the original name is Hawankoya or Awatsuma. And and this lineage is given like from family to family, but in our lineage it was broken because of the Catholic Church. They thought that was work of the devil, so she had to hide a lot, and we discovered it years later. So after one generation of not passing it through, we took it as great grandchildren back to us. So, and it's very traditional that if you have somebody using a certain plant in a lineage, you have like a more, how do you say that in English, like erlaubnis, how do you say this in English,
like an allowance,
like a allowance, like a permission, or like
mission.
legitimation that you can use it, when you say like, oh, my grandmother used to use it, so then people believe you a little bit more, but which is actually sometimes also not so, it's not a guarantee, let's say that.
Like a tricky area. Is it
Uh-huh.
only with the hallucinogenics?
Sorry?
Is it only with these
No.
hallucinogenic plants, or also just like with the tiger bone? Would
Yeah.
that also possibly be? Okay.
Like there is, we work with grandmother Mama Mila, which in her lineage she got the use of the nettle, and she has like an amazing knowledge about only the nettle, in which ways, in rituals, but also how to prepare it, the different uses of it, and the understanding of it. So, and this is given by her grandmother, and her grandmother was given by. So they have this tradition of the nettle.
Oh,
Wow, that's
beautiful.
so beautiful.
What is the plants that you got in your lineage? You mentioned the San Pedro cactus. Is there any other plants that were going through your lineage that came to you?
Yeah, actually, the San Pedro cactus is from the lineage from my great grandmother Margarita, and she got it again from her grandfather. So it was passed like through different family members, but it got cut in some parts because many times it was used, like in my family of Peru. My great grandmother was seen as a bad person because she used to do witch work, and she was half black, and she was doing rituals, and she was a woman, and she was a black woman working with plants and magic. And for our family that was very Catholic in a certain time of in the past, they kind of like isolated her. So they said like, no, we don't want to do anything with you. And we, after years, when the whole psychedelic movement started to flourish again, we discovered her, and it was really nice because we really connected really fast with this plant also. Yeah. So I have this plant in my lineage, and I have the work also with some other plants that I got from other teachers. Like I work also with ayahuasca. I work also with the nettle because I learned it from Mama Mila. I have some, but they are not directly from my lineage, but more like teachings that I got in this time of my life.
Wow. It kind of leads us to the next question, because the next question is going or was supposed to be like about elders and the wisdom that they keep, and how elders guide your work, and you kind of told us about that. And for me, it's a little bit the question, because in the work as herbalists, like Tash and I also do, we connect with the plants also on a, let's say, spiritual level, to get in contact with the spirit of a plant in order to gain wisdom, to know, to learn about the world, how to work with it, what to bring in the world with this plant. And yeah, is that something that you also experienced in your work, that you find teachings in the work with the plant? And maybe you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yes, of course. I think the way it has worked for me is to build up a relationship, and it's like a friendship relationship, a deeper relationship, a teacher, how to say that, pupil relationship, but also sometimes at the same level, because it's an exchange. And what I've learned a little bit through all these years is that to build a relationship, you need time, and you need really, really, very literally time, and you cannot, I don't know, you cannot build a relationship in a very short time with a plant and use it and learn from it in the internet. It's like more, I think that you build, you start to know the first part of the plant, which is the outside of the plant, how she expresses herself, or how she wants to show herself to the world, and what she communicates in her image. And then you start to relate to her, that you plant her somewhere, you start to see her where she moves, the Umgebung, how to say this, the surroundings of the plant, the relationship she has with other plants, where she comes from, what she likes, where does she feel more comfortable. And then there is this phase where you start to work with her together, and you make an alliance. She that was very nice from one of my teachers, from Chijo from Brazil. He said once to me, the relationship with any psychedelic plant or any healing plant is an exchange. So we are a possibility to do things she cannot do normally as a plant. So she gives us the possibilities what we cannot do as human beings. So it's an exchange. So in how far you are able to give yourself, your knowledge, your possibilities, so that she can do things that she normally as a plant cannot do, she will give you also all the possibilities that we don't have as a human being. So it becomes like a symbiosis and an alliance between both. And for that you need time. You need like trust. You need to build up trust. The plant has to trust you, and then it starts to teach you something. First, it cleans you. It tells you where to go, and then at a certain point, when you are like ready for it, she starts to teach you things. And so it's about more this taking the time and having patience to that this relationship can develop into an alliance, and then you have an alliance with the plant.
Mm-hmm. Like I wonder when we're talking about this, there's some plants that are easy for me to connect with, and some, let's say, that seem a bit tricky. And I think of Castaneda, for example, when you read the books and he's talking about like working with some plants that are a little bit, like let's say, maybe careful to be handled.
Mm-hmm.
And do you have experience like that, that you are getting in contact with a plant and you're like, I'm not sure about the intention. And is
Uh-huh.
it more a mirror of myself, or do you think some of the plants can be tricky to be worked with?
Yeah, I think, I think plants. I love a lot plants, yeah, but they have their own intentions, and I think plants, like especially the plants that the psychedelic plants I work with, they don't have moral,
Mm.
yeah. So for me, they only show you a mirror, and you can do whatever you want with it. So sometimes people go to start to have a drink a plant or go to a psychedelic plant and think the plant will heal them or will make them a better person, and sometimes it's just a mirror to show us, hey, this is the work that you have to do, but you are the one who has to judge. And that's sometimes a bit tricky with the plants because they don't exactly tell you where to go. They are such great teachers, I think, because they are longer as us here on the earth, so they don't have this thing of judgment.
Mm.
They don't say like, oh, I don't want to work with you. They just want you to have an alliance with them, and I think they even sometimes can use you.
Mhm.
So like really,
Mm.
their beauty is sometimes an invitation to go and plant there somewhere else so that they can invade other parts of the world.
Mm.
Like this cactus here behind is now going really into the world, and is in Australia, is now in Gran Canaria, is everywhere, and sometimes I think it's this possibility that this cactus gives us is very seducing, and behind that there is like a thing like, oh, I want to travel around the world, I want to settle myself somewhere else too. So they have their own intentions too, plants, and that's sometimes a bit, you have to be careful with that because
Mhm.
sometimes you can be used.
I think it's a really good point to make as well, that we can that we do have to be very wary of plants. I think many people, when they work with them, think that it's just a plant, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a really unintelligent way to view plants, saying that it's just a plant. So, but I like those images. I actually have a San Pedro in my bedroom. I was just thinking about that as you said that.
Yeah, here people plant San Pedro to watch after the houses for the robbers. So when you have San
Ah,
Pedro, the robbers don't come inside, they say.
that's
And that's
funny
really
because
true. We have a lot here. They have robbed in all our neighbors around here, but in our house, not.
that's so interesting because a friend of mine gave it to me and I just wanted to put it near my where I sleep, like and I felt like to protect me or something.
Yeah,
So
it's a protecting plant.
it's funny you say that. So no robbers in my dreams, maybe.
Yeah.
Mm.
So you do a lot of ritual, and we all three of us do quite a lot of ritual and working with plants and ritual. Could you share with us a little bit what this means to you? Maybe this word, or what holding space, or having a ritual with yourself, with people, with plants. And do
Mm.
you have particular plants that you use? Like, do you have a special plants that you use when you're doing ritual?
Yes. I think for me the ritual is a very essential part of human evolution, and sometimes it's a bit overseen, yeah, because it's a ritual and everybody looks at it. But I believe a lot, and I think, and I've seen it also by treating some people with plants and rituals together, because these psychedelic plants can help to for the plasticity of the brain, and when the plasticity of the brain is weich, how to say that, is very soft, then rituals become an amazing tool to heal things and to rearrange the patterns in our life. So for me, the rituals, they communicate with the subconsciousness. I believe a lot that it's very difficult to communicate with the subconsciousness because we cannot tell the subconsciousness to cut something when it comes from the brain. But I think a language that the subconsciousness understands really, really good, and where we can access to the subconsciousness and do something in it, is the ritual and the symbol. And sometimes we don't understand why. And I work a lot with that, especially when I give treatments of microdosing to people. I bring them to do some rituals for themselves that are very tailored to the person. It's a ritual tailored to the person to cut something or to heal something. And the results are really amazing. Sometimes people do the ritual and they say like, yeah, it was nothing exceptional, the ritual, because it was very, like a soldier. You take the stone and make a dance and put it there. But then something shifts. Something changes, and that's the power, I think, of the ritual, and especially in the works I do with my rituals, when I do my ceremonies of the plants of the Amazon and the ceremonies of the psychedelic plants of the Andes. It's always based on a ritual with opening a space where people can do their work, and with closing also the space. So it has a ritual has always a kind of a structure that is very ordered. It's not just chaotic. Yeah, it can be chaotic. It can be a ordered chaos, but it has always a meaning and symbols in it, in which we can access the subconsciousness and change patterns that are stuck there. And I think that's the power of a ritual. And I think in our modern society, we don't take the time anymore to do it. We don't. For me, giving a hand is already a ritual, and we kind of don't have even the time sometimes to give a hug or give a hand. Or those are little rituals that have a lot of meaning. And I think the capitalistic world where we are living in, with this hyper capitalism, doesn't allows us a little bit to go into that, because there is no time. We have to use everything really, and the ritual is more like, yeah, you can do it, but and for me, it's an essential part of human evolution.
Do you have something that you can share with the audience, maybe to get back to that idea of incorporating rituals in their everyday life, like something that you can do on an everyday basis? Like how do you connect with that roots?
And every when we bring it like really to the basic of a ritual, everyday practice could be that you do something in the mornings that you repeat, that doesn't exactly lead you to somewhere, but that it's a ritual to connect with yourself. Yeah, sometimes a moment of a breathing session, or putting up a candle, making a prayer, or chanting something in front of a little altar. That's very useful, because that gives you helps you to order a little bit your daily life, and to reconnect with yourself. But also, I think it's sometimes a very important ritual, like we have in the Andes and in the Amazon. We make payments to the earth when we to say thank you above all, but sometimes also to ask for something. And this we do to reconnect a little bit with the spirit of this planet, that we sometimes see only as a blue thing. How to say that? Jumping around in the universe. But actually, for me, this has a very strong spirit. Yeah, the earth, that it's much older than our own spirit, than the spirits of the plants, and when we honor that, it listens to us. It's and when we don't do it, it also gives us. So but it's important for us to connect. And I think many indigenous cultures that still have these rituals, they are very connected to the earth, and they really listen to it. And so sometimes when we go just to to the woods. Like for me, like always when I go to a place, to the woods, I always ask for permission. Just in loud, hey, I'm here. I'm gonna be here, and then nothing. I don't lose myself. The woods cooperate with me when I do my walk. Yeah, and they show me things that normally they wouldn't show me if I don't ask for permission. Um, and there is one ritual that is very, very beautiful, and that's a payment to the earth. You make a little hole in the earth. Yeah, you bring some things that you want to give to the earth, to give thanks for your life, or to ask for something. And in many traditions, like in the Quero tradition from Peru, they make these payments to the different elements, and each element likes certain things. So you can like to the you cannot like to the water. When you make a payment to the water, the water doesn't like food, doesn't like tobacco, doesn't like seeds. But the water likes metals. The water likes precious stones, likes flowers. So with that, you make the payment to the water. So it's a whole knowledge also about what kind of things each element likes. So you can make a payment to the fire, you can make a payment to the earth, you can make a payment to the wind. So and yeah, and that's a good thing to do sometimes. Once in a year, go to the earth and make a payment to say thanks for your life, for the things that she's giving to us. And this bonds the relationship and connects with with the spirit which we are living now on.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah, I like the part of asking for permission. When I started foraging, like some years ago, I did not do this, like, and then after a while you realize, things are happening to you when you don't ask. Like you cut yourself, you like stumble over something, or you fall into the water and lose the root that you just collected, like because you didn't like honor it enough in a certain way. And I found that was a good lesson for me, especially like in my early years when I went out foraging. Yeah, so it's always good to remember.
Yeah.
And also sometimes, with plants itself, when I work in my garden, I many times when I need to cut a plant because it's invading too much the other plants, I say like, hey, sorry, I have to cut you a little bit because the other plants I like kind of like really, and sometimes people think I'm a bit weird, but it really, the results after in the garden is like really, I'm like really amazed of the cooperation of all the plants, and they kind of like it when I come, so you see the results, and that's what you say, you go without permission into the woods, and then you stumble, something happens, or it's not so amazing, but when you ask permission, sometimes the woods, they open a space for you that's very magical, and you start to see things that you normally wouldn't see if you don't ask for permission.
Yeah,
it's very true. We should probably do that more in our everyday life, everywhere.
Yeah, and it's just a short moment. It's also not that work. It's just like coming into the woods and say like, hey, I'm here. Thank you that I can come inside.
Yeah.
Then you go.
Here in Germany, we say something that the little folks, the dwarfs, kind of, they are living in our woods. So whenever I go foraging, they like sweets. It's something you can do in Germany, like bring a cookie or something self-made and like just leave it somewhere where they find it and they be happy, like. Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, so thank you very much, Fernando, already for this insights. I think it's very important. I believe like on a regular basis, doing rituals, connecting to our ancestors helps us connect to the planet, to the plants, in order to gain like a connection, but also more wisdom and the interconnection, seeing the interconnection between all these things. And yeah, so we always finish with a last question, and that is there something that you want to share with the audience, like something that you think is like a good, important message, or that you would just like to share?
Yeah, something I've been sharing lately also in my sweat lodges. We are all very, how to say that, very worried about the state of our planet now, and the whole politics and how everything is going, and nobody is satisfied, and there's lots of mental problems. We are living in challenging times, and the elders here, the elderly that work with plants, that have certain leading positions in the indigenous communities in Ecuador, but also in Peru, but also in the north, and I guess also in other countries. But the elderly, they are telling a narrative which is really, which gives me a lot of hope, and gives me a lot of also understanding where we are now. And what they say is that we as human beings in this period where we are inside, we are still in our puberty as species. So which they say we have gone through many phases as a species, no? Not as individuals, but as a species, and we are now in the phase of our puberty. And this phase of our puberty, they don't know if we are in to the end of it, or perhaps even the beginning of it, or in the middle of it. This we don't know, and how long it's going to take. And what they say is like, we don't have to worry too much that it's going to end or something. No, it's going to keep on going, and it's going to evolve, and we're going to keep on living on this planet. And but we are in a very dangerous time, because the puberty is a dangerous time. It's a time where we take a lot of risks, where we do everything from the emotion, and where we think we know now everything. Now we are like, yeah, we know now life, and yeah, we can do it, and we are not jumping into the responsibility it is to be adults, to care for something, which is the earth, which is the animals. To care is also to cooperate with the other species, to keep the diversity on this planet. So yeah, it's for me, it's a message of hope, because it's not anymore this narrative of like the world is going to end and the Armageddon is going to come, and I don't know, God is going to come from this, and he's going to judge for other people, but for others which are catastrophic, like the earth is going to end, and life is going to be killed on this planet. So yeah, I want to communicate also as a message also from the elderly, that we are in our puberty, and we have to get into grown-ups, and it's not easy. It's not easy to get, yeah, to leave some things behind so that we can go into adulthood as species.
That's super nice. It's
I like
a
that.
really, really beautiful message. In German, there's a word that we say for this kind of state, halbstark. You're like half strong, but like you're part child, and like you're doing too much, you fight, you get into like hormones and aggression. And it's super beautiful that you say that, because comfrey is like exactly a plant like that. The ideas of growing, making a steps into a new state, like going from childhood to adulthood. So it's a very, very beautiful statement. Thank you for that. Yeah,
Yeah, and comfrey,
specifically.
it's called here consuelda, and it grows also here, because I've been doing some research, and we have it even in our garden here, consuelda. I didn't know, so, but it's a European plant, so it's really, really interesting that suddenly, because of you, I discovered this plant also grows here on my trees.
Yeah, sharing knowledge.
Yeah.
Sharing herbal knowledge. We're all about that.
Uh,
Yeah, do you want to introduce? We like it when our interviewee also introduces their song, which is actually this song that we're playing, and we played another song of yours. I think
Nature
I'll
Boy.
have a look again what that one it was, but we played another one of yours, so we've got two on the radio. And would you like to introduce this one?
Wait, before we do that, I have one last question, because maybe you want to say something when you will be back in Germany and when you,
Yeah.
if you do workshops around in Berlin or anything, so the audience knows where to go or us
Mhm.
too.
Yeah, I'm always coming in the beginning of the spring, so around middle of April, and then my season starts till around beginning of November. And I'm there, and I give some workshops. I do sweat lodges. I give Amazonian ceremonies, Andean ceremonies, and we do it with a collective which is called Sonjonyan, and it's in Quechua. It means the little path of the heart. Because Songho is heart and Nyan is little path. So and we are kind of a collective, and I'll do more of the work there, of course, but we are slowly developing ourselves more into a collective where we kind of follow a ethical line and also like kind of professional line, but also very heart rooted. And we try to also give contextualization of the struggles of the people who are the carriers of these traditions and also rituals, but also use of plants. So not to disconnect from that, and also try to work together. So so that it doesn't become only a commercial thing, nah? And we do that exactly in these periods. And in Ecuador, we organize, if somebody's interested, we organize once a year a longer retreat of 16 days here in Ecuador, in this garden, what you see here. And it's in January, where we dive into all the rituals and the plants and all the traditions from here. Yeah. And this I organized together with my family and some friends.
That sounds nice.
Beautiful, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Go for
And
it.
about introducing the song, which songs did you choose?
You chose one.
I can choose one, or you?
No, you did choose one. You sent
Okay.
it to me. Yeah.
Okay, which one was that? I forgot.
I think you chose Nature Boy.
No, Nature Boy we played already, and
Okay. Yeah, Nature Boy is not mine, huh? Nature Boy
Isn't it?
is from Nat King Cole, which is a very famous
So you don't even.
Afro-American singer from I think the 50s or something. And he is really, really nice. He has his version of Nature Boy, but I loved this song so much because for me it speaks about what you give is what you get. So if you give love, you're gonna get love in return.
Okay, so
it's not my song.
Okay, we need to change that.
Please.
You chose Earth Flames.
Oh, Earth Flames, yeah.
Yeah.
This is a song I made when the Amazon was burning. And I was on my bike, and my mother called me, and she said, like, look what is happening. And I arrived home, and this song, like the lyrics came out like a vomit, like really, and the song was made in 2 days. And it's a very complicated song to play on the guitar, but it came just out, and it's an ode to the earth. It's a song that I sing to the earth. So it's a song it's what I said about the puberty. It's a bit a song of understanding our puberty on this earth and wanting to reconnect with this mother that we are living on.
Beautiful. Then, we would like to thank you for joining us and sharing your knowledge with our audience and us as well. It's always very inspiring talking to everyone. And talking to you today was very inspiring to see how you're working.
Yeah, for me also.
And your work.
So we're back from our beautiful interview with Fernando, and Comfrey is messing a little bit with our technical side. So we had a lot of issues with this episode, and this is why we are here now and not in the studio recording, but it is what it is. And as always, now is the time for recipe time. Since you had so many recipes in the last year and a half.
I did. I always take over that section, don't I?
Now it's on.
Sorry about that.
I have 2 freaking recipes for that beautiful plant.
Okay, beautiful.
And the first one is a beautiful cream that I'm doing every year. And it's a recipe from our teacher, Cornelia Tietzmann, that you can listen to her in one of the first episodes. And what you basically do is you take a fat, in this case, you take lanolin, and you cook it up, cook up the root of the comfrey for several hours, and altogether 21 hours, 3 times 7. So, ooh, look at that beauty.
Like something like this.
Oh, keep it still. Oh, yeah. This, probably not even all of it, would go in like a liter of lanolin or something. Typically, they used bear fat, or you could use like boar fat, which is just like super smelly, but that's how they used it. And I love this recipe because it's a little bit of magic. You have the 3 times 7. You need to stir it for a longer time, put some love and energy in, and like loving thoughts while stirring. And it reminds me of the recipes that the Native Americans, for example, do with certain plants. They cook them like we're cooking bones. And now we have the analogy again, for several hours, which is otherwise quite unusual. Like in Western medicine, you don't cook plants for several hours. But in this case, we're doing it, and it's an amazing cream that brings a lot of relief, closing wounds and blah, blah, blah. But we talked about this already.
I mean, that sort of matches the long period of how it goes deep, doesn't it?
It
goes
true.
Deep, need to create a depth to it.
It needs time. That's just what it does with comfrey.
Yeah.
And the other recipe is a beautiful recipe from the time Tash and I had a garden in Uckermark, and we had a comfrey plant in the garden, and I took some leaves and I sauteed them in hot water, just like quickly in there, so you get like the rough side off, basically the rough hairs. And then you put some feta, sheep milk, cheese, put it like you would do it with wine leaves in Greek restaurants. You put the cheese on top, sprinkle some salt, pepper, maybe garlic. We put some salvia there, or like whatever you can find in your garden. Close it and put it in the oven for like 20 to 25 minutes, and you have an amazing, amazing comfrey cheese dish there.
It was very delicious, that dish.
It was.
Could eat that now.
Yeah, me too. Well, that's kind of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
have you got anything to offer?
I have. How about I talked the whole time? What about you? What do you have to offer? To invite to?
I mean, we've got the Christmas market at our space on Sunday. If you want some magic herbal potions or some nice fermented fancy presents, some nice foods there, come along in the Mommsenstraße 7 to 9. Come check us out at Nourish Collective. And I think that's all. Just got the practice at the moment. My course is running. Yeah.
Okay.
Course is starting up next year again, if you're interested, herbal course.
Yes.
And you, my dear?
I have a beautiful seminar going on with my teacher Andreas Krüger at the Matthias Berner Academy about homeopathy and archetypes. Dive into archetypes, find out what archetype you are. There's a free introduction course also that you can check out. Gonna put the links in the show notes. Check them out. As always, Praxis at Mommsenstraße. If you need some one-to-one guidance, help with health issues or whatever's going on in your life, we're there. Find us there. Find us on Power Plants Berlin, Herby at Heart, or Avant-Garden Life on Instagram. That's it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Comfrey, for this beautiful, beautiful journey. And as always,
and it has been a journey. Stay rooted.
Yes.
Oh, stay wild. Oh, no, that's my tagline.
Stay wild, stay witchy. No, Herby at Heart.
Herby by nature.